Before we start with the formal meeting, does anyone have anything they'd like to ask about what we're doing and where we're going?
I wasn't informed that Roger, from Roger or Tanya, that this was a happy hour call, or
I know.
crack something myself.
All right, cheers.
Look at Wade's got a glass of whiskey. This is
Oh,
my
come on.
kind of Rotary. Troy?
Well, hey, oh, look at Troy. Yeah, well, you know, this is a new kind of Rotary Club, right? And we're allowed to be a little, I see that, Becky. We're allowed to be a little casual, right? Especially as we get to know one another. Who knows? We may do a, we may do a social hour one of these meetings.
It is social hour, isn't it?
Oh, somebody, hey, Tom, see, we're already having fun there, District Governor.
I see that.
All right, now I need to find out who is 509-387-1749.
That's me, Bill, Tom Hanson.
Okay. We got to figure out a way when people call in. And Tom, you're a Zoom expert. How do we get people to have their names on there rather than their phone numbers?
I don't think there is a way when you just dial in. There's no way for the system to know who that is.
Oh, shoot. Okay. That's too bad. I guess I'll have to start writing down people's numbers. So I have Tom Hanson there. I had Dale Livingston there. Okay. We have 4 minutes to start, so I hope everybody who is going to get on gets on quickly, right? Let's see. I've got some people. Who is that? That's okay. Bonnie's muted herself, and that's okay. So a couple more minutes, and then those of you who can mute yourselves, please go ahead, and we will get started with the meeting. Troy helped me out. Just to give you a clue, for those of you who are already here, I'm going to try something. I played with it, Troy, today a little bit. And there's a thing I can do where I can do I share screen on this. And when I share screen, I also say share computer sound. Okay? And what'll happen is we're going to try to start these meetings with both national anthems and the flag showing. Okay? And this is a first. I've tested it on my own, but I have no idea how it's going to work in the group. But if it works, it'll be a really neat start to this meeting, okay? Okay, so this is brand new. Everybody be prepared for almost anything, right? Okay, who am I missing? I got Sean, I got that. Okay, 2 more minutes to go. Any suggestions, Tom, before we get this going?
Dilly dilly.
Dilly dilly, okay. All right, and by the way, okay, whose was that? Because that sounds like the signal to start, huh? Who's that? All right. Well, it's 2 minutes early. I hate to start, but it looks like everybody who is going to be is here. And so out of respect for those who signed on, I think we're going to get started. Okay, Tom?
Sounds great.
Okay, so everybody, if you would be so kind as to mute yourselves for a bit.
How do I do that?
And I know that's going to be hard, Roger, but go ahead. Okay. And Greg. Okay. I've got you on here twice.
We're coming here.
All right. So we're going to try an experiment and share with sound.
Whose was rise and rise stars through the perilous
Beauty.
Okay.
Good job, Bill.
Did that work?
Yeah.
Did that work,
good.
Tom? Oops. Did that
worked
work,
great.
Governor Tom?
It worked great.
Awesome. All right. I want to give kudos to Troy. I asked him last night, by the way, was Troy's birthday. And I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Go out and have a good time. Party safely, but I need something from you." And he did. He got me both those flags and the anthems to go with it. And believe me, that was a complete. I tested a little bit, but I had no idea how it would work in real time. So that's awesome. Thank you, Troy.
You're very welcome.
Okay, so at this time, everyone, what I would like to, and although he's not on here, but this E-Club was a vision of past District Governor Bob Martin back in 2008, 2009, and he wanted to try to get an E-Club going because he had that vision that Rotary would probably be going in that direction, right? And it just didn't happen for him. And I always thought maybe, just maybe, I could do it, and we did it. We all did it together because it takes all of us to make this club happen, right? So I want to acknowledge Bob for that. I want to recognize the visiting Rotarians, and that's going to be real easy because I can see Roger Painter and Becky Roger Painter is a past AG. Becky Fontaine is fantastic youth exchange person extraordinaire. Won us what, the Gold Award 3-4 years in a row, Becky?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just call me Golden Girl.
Yeah. And then I see Greg Horn there, and I see Mary had to step in to show him how to get his computer working properly. Greg, as you all know, is now what, the DGN? D? District Governor Nominee Designate.
Correct.
Okay. And let's see Donna Davis from the Shelton Rotary Club is here. A really good friend of mine. Paul Davis, past district governor from Oregon, right, Paul?
That's correct.
Correct. John Thomas, thank you. You joined us. Great. And then Jim Harris, past district governor. It was Jim who got me started on the path of all where I'm at today with Rotary. When Jim started the district council back in 1997, Jim?
97, correct.
All right, we got it. So did I miss any dignitaries or visitors at this point? I hope not. Okay. The next thing I would like to do is, and I have a list here. I was going to call the names of those charter members who are on tonight so that just as a formality, this, by the way, is being recorded to my desktop, and I will then in turn do a little editing, and then I will make it available not only for you folks if you want to replay it, but also for the people who weren't able to be here tonight. Kind of a neat feature. that this Zoom software has. So what I would like to do is when I call your name, if you could just say, you know, who you are, obviously when I call your name, but acknowledge yourselves, what Rotary Club or what geographic area you are from the district or outside the district, and just one sentence on your Rotary experience. And so I will start with Troy Alexander.
Cheers, everybody.
Yep.
So Troy Alexander, Victoria. I've been involved with Rotary for, this is going on 14 years in April. Past president of the Royal Oak Rotary Club, past district governor, various different committees. What more can I say? Here I am.
Very good. Quick story about Troy. When I was district governor in 3-4, I made a visit to Victoria, and they announced that I was going to give out a Paul Harris. And so they introduce Troy. As he comes up, Karen leans over to me and says, "He's just a kid." And he was becoming a Paul Harris. So at that point, the joke is now that Troy is my Rotary son. And he's been so helpful. Thank you so much, Troy, for everything you've done. Next on the list, Cynthia Hancock. Unmute yourself, please. Or I'll do it for you. I'll try that.
I am. So I think this is my second year in Rotary, second or third, and I was part of the Gateway Lacey Club.
Awesome. And Cynthia is on the board of the new club, and she is your club secretary. Oh, and I should have mentioned, I apologize, Troy is also our public relations, public image chair. And if any of you are really good at looking at websites or Facebook or Instagram, which I have no idea how to do that, and Twitter, we are all linked on all of that thanks to Troy. So, okay, now, next on the list, Pamela Deacon Joyner. Unmute yourself. There you go.
There we go. Pamela Deacon Joyner. I live in Grapeview, halfway between Shelton and Bremerton. I have been a Rotarian since 2006, formerly with Corkland Spanaway Rotary, and then when I moved into Tacoma, I joined, or helped charter actually, Tacoma Sunset Rotary, which I love very much. And then we moved out here to Grapeview, and so I'm in need of this e-Rotary very much, and I'm grateful for it.
And we're grateful that you joined us, Pam. Pam is also is the club's international service chair. And in 2 weeks, the program is going to be Pam, and she's going to tell us all about, I forgot the title, but it's in Shillong, India, correct, Pam?
Right. It's uplifting the people of Shillong, India. It was a Rotary grant.
Awesome.
From a while back.
So Pam is going to help us learn more about international service projects, and maybe one day we can participate. Next on the list, from the people I can tell that are here, Tom Hansen.
Yeah, good evening. This is Tom Hansen. I'm past president of Lacey Rotary and a past assistant governor.
Great. And Tom is a longtime friend of mine. And Tom is on your board as a director, and Tom is the community service chair. Next, it looks like will be Deborah Kovacs. Deb, can you unmute yourself? There you go.
Hi, you can call me Debbie.
Okay, Debbie.
I was a charter member of the Gateway Rotary with Sean Lewis for a period of time. Then I have been on leave for about 3 years as I transitioned to a new position in Everett. And now I'm with this online Rotary.
That's fantastic. Yeah, glad to have you. Sean was Debbie's sponsor for this club. And I'm really glad because one of the things in our title, we're the E Club 502 International. And so we are beginning to stretch our boundaries where we have somebody from Portland. We have Deb, who's, although her job is in Everett, you're still located in Thurston County, correct, Deb?
Yes, my home is in Thurston County.
Yeah. But it's really nice. This club is going to offer some opportunities for people if they have to move away from the district, they can stay connected. Looks the next, next on the list is Brett Lathrop.
Good evening, everybody. Brett Lathrop. I live in a little town called Ording in the valley, just south and east of Puyallup. I'm originally from Olympia, and I was an Olympia Rotarian downtown chapter from 2009 till a little over a year ago, and then with travels had to stop, but happy to be back online.
Great. We're happy to have you back on Rotary. Brett is a great, and so is Debbie, great examples of, and Pam actually, people who had to leave Rotary due to job changes or due to relocation. And that's what this club was formed for primarily, was to bring, Rotarians back into Rotary. And this is really, really great. Next on the list is Sean Lewis.
Hi, good evening. So I'm Sean Lewis. I'm past president of Hawks Prairie Rotary Club. I was a charter member of Hawks Prairie, a charter member of Gateway Rotary, a strong supporter of the Rotary Foundation, and happy to be your foundation chair.
Awesome. And thank you, Sean. We're extremely glad. In fact, Sean has been kind of my inspiration because he, when I told him I wanted to get this going, he was constantly checking with me. Well, how's it going, Bill? What's the next step? Where are we at? And so Sean was an inspiration, and here we are. Dell Livingston, you're on, Dell.
Well, this is going to be a good program for me, I believe, because I spend half the year in Africa, and I really don't have a good way to keep connected because I attend different Rotary clubs throughout the 9212 district. However, but I'm not a member, so I'm really not attached to anything, and it's wonderful to be able to just tune in and be back with my family.
Yeah, and that's great. Dale and Suzanne have been attendees when I was foundation chair. They were there for every foundation training, and they do a lot in the way of grants as well. And so we're very glad to have you on board, Dale. And maybe someday in the future we'll have you as a program. Let's see, Tanya, and I don't know. I'm sorry. How do I pronounce that? Paripa? Paripa.
Yes. Hello, everybody. I'm going on to my second year as Rotarian. I'm originally from East Bremerton, but I'm going to be moving to State College, Pennsylvania, starting in February. So I'm glad I can stay in contact with everybody here.
Well, that'll be great. So we'll have somebody from Pennsylvania in the club.
Yep.
Oh, wonderful. This is great. Just to let you know, you brought up a good point. This club, part of the format of this club is an inspiration I received at Atlanta when I met a gentleman named Jean-Louis Nouin-Qui from France. And he belongs to a club as the club E-Club 9920 Francophone. And it's located in Provence, France. And they have members from France, Germany, Spain, Taiwan. And so they're all over the world. And they do community service and international service around the world. And so, Tanya, you're going to be a great example of someone who's many across the country, but still a Rotarian within our group. That's awesome. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Next on the list looks like Wade Stewart.
Hi. I was originally from the Tacoma Narrows Rotary. I was PR director there for a little while. And one of the things that I got to do was participate in Rotary Chat, which was a Twitter chat, which we did for probably a good 6 months. And it was not just my club, but a few other clubs in the South Sound got together, and we had members joining us from all over the world and in this chat on Twitter. And so I'm hopeful to see something like that happen here, because it was an amazing experience to get people all over the world in the same screen. So this is great. I'm glad to be here.
Oh, I'm really glad to have you. And I have no idea what a Twitter chat is, but I'm sure Troy can educate me. I'm still learning. But the idea of one of the things too, this eClub 9920, Wade, is that they have set up a twinning relationship with all the eClubs in the world. And so we're once we get rolling here, I'm going to join with them or have us twin with them. And so we'll be able to have contact with somewhere between 32 to 34 eClubs around the world.
That's
and,
wonderful.
We'll be able to connect and share each other's meeting times and be able to, you know, learn so much more about the Rotary world right at our desks. Isn't that great?
That's wonderful.
Okay, the next person is John Thomas.
Well, good evening, everybody. I'm John Thomas. I live in Victoria, British Columbia. I spent the last 25 years actually just 30 miles north of here. I'm the past president of the South Cowichan Rotary at Mill Bay.
Okay.
And I was briefly a member at the Victoria Rotary, one of the very oldest rotaries in the world.
Yep.
And I am extremely pleased to be able to join you all electronically as we go forward in my semi-retirement and my traveling days. And I can't be more excited to do this. I'm a 3-time Paul Harris and look forward to everything we can accomplish here together. Thank you.
That's awesome. And that's great to have we have, what, a number of past presidents in this club. This is going to be awesome.
Really amazing.
You're bringing some expertise, John, and that's much appreciated. And I know a lot about the South Cowichan area because you had a great Rotarian there who recently moved away. My age is getting away from me now, but not Norton. Gentleman who helped start the MIG, the Mid-Island Group, Derek Norton. And unfortunately, he moved out of the district, but he was a prime mover in what's called the Mid-Island Group, where 21 Rotary clubs come together and work on grants, global grants. And next person is Fred Wright. Fred,
there we go.
There you
there
go.
We go. Good evening. I'm in Olympia, Washington. This will be my 3rd Rotary Club, first one that I've been a charter member of. I was also part of Gateway Rotary, a few familiar faces here. And previous to that, I was in the Bellevue Lunch Club for a number of years.
Oh, Bellevue, okay, awesome. So you know a little bit about 5030.
Yes, I do.
Good. Maybe we can develop some contacts up there as well.
Sure.
Let's see. Because I see phone numbers in some cases and not names, have I missed any of the charter members who are signed on? I have not. Wonderful. Okay. The next step. Oh, me. I forgot me. Anyway, just a quick thing about me. I'm a past district governor. I've been an AG. I'm a past district governor, past foundation chair for the district, and I'm your current president of this charter club. And I'll have to tell you, it's been a lot of work. I've been working with RI and the district governor. You would think it would be easy, but there's a lot to do. Bylaws, Constitution. Fred has had to work with the state to get us on there as a registered nonprofit. The bank accounts that have to be set up. It's really complex. And when we all sat in August and said January 1st to be a charter date, I first thought, oh, that's no problem. We can do that easily. Well, it turns out we made it by the skin of our teeth, but we did do it. And I did, you know, we all did it. I mean, Troy and Fred and Cynthia and Sean and Tom. It took so much work to get this going, and I'm so grateful to all of you for what you've done. And I'm just thinking that looking at the number of people here tonight, that we can only move forward and grow. This is awesome. So at this time, now that we've done the introductions, I would like to introduce our district governor, Tom Carroll, who is going to provide us some words of inspiration. Right, Tom?
Well, I'll leave that to you to decide, Bill.
And you're going to present our charter too.
As long as everybody's nice during the speech, I'll present the charter.
Now, Tom, do you have the ability from your end to share the screen and be able to put our charter up online?
Yeah, at that point, I'll do that.
Awesome. Thank you. So our district governor, Tom Carroll.
Well, thank you, President Bill, and I want to thank everybody here that's present. You know, there's a few neat things that you get to do as district governor. One is to induct new members. Another is to pin Paul Harris devices on people's shoulders. Another is to welcome previous members back, and the fourth is to charter new clubs. And today I get to do all those things all exactly at the same time. So this is kind of a red letter day. So for those of you, you know, I know a number of you on the call. So hello to everyone that knows me from other organizations. Hey, Fred. If you didn't know, and some of you probably don't, I fell off my cabin roof about 5 months ago.
Yep.
And that was kind of serious. I was in the hospital, and several of the clubs in the district sent get well cards. And one that I wanted to share with you is one that reads, "Dear Governor Tom, the Rotary Club of Nanaimo Daybreakers, by a vote of 41-4, hope you recover." Yeah, I know, right? And then they said, "We wanted to send you flowers, but that failed 17-28. So a little bit of Canadian humor there.
We love you, buddy.
Yeah. When I got to tell you, I was talking to my daughter, Amanda, and I was mentioning I was going to be talking to the club tonight, and she wanted to know if there were going to be any Canadians on the call, because I was trying to figure out what I should wear. You know, normally when you go to a charter event, the governor, you know, comes in a suit or maybe even, you know, black tie. And I said, what should I wear to this? And she said, are there going to be Canadians on? And I said, yes. And she said, well, maybe you should wear a Canadian tuxedo. And I told her I didn't know what that was. And so she went on the internet and showed me pictures of people in denim. So I learned a new phrase today. I'm going to use that when I go up to the Comox Rendezvous here in a few weeks, I think. Although I don't know that I have the complete denim outfit. You know, today's meeting reminds me of a time when I was a club president. It was after the club meeting that one of our members came up to me and he said, "Hey, Tom, I wanted to apologize. I was gone for the last 2 meetings because I was on vacation. I couldn't make it." You know, and I wasn't really paying a lot of attention to him. You know, I was getting my briefcase ready to go to work, and he grabbed me by the arm and he goes, "No, listen, you need to hear what I'm saying. It's important to me that you know that I need to be at Rotary, you know, every week. This is a part of my life. These are my friends." You know, and I thought about that after I went back to work, and it occurred to me, and this is why I'm sharing this with you, because, you know, I was the charter president for Gateway Rotary. And like Bill said, it is a lot of work. You know, it was one of the toughest things I've ever done. And I realized at that moment that if a few of us hadn't done the heavy lifting to create that Rotary Club, then that Rotary Club would not exist. And I'll tell you today, a little over 6 years after founding that club, we have now 102 members, right? And so, you know, the reality is that most of us probably won't get a chance to go on a mission or to dig a well, like, you know, like Bill has done on several occasions, or put drops of vaccine into a child's mouth. But all of us can do the work that's required to build and run these great clubs, like this club, right? And because if these clubs don't exist, then neither does Rotary. So where I want to start with is there's going to be times when Bill's going to need help, right? With maybe people working on the membership committee or service or foundation, or maybe even somebody to put their hand to be, you know, the next president of this club. And I'm saying that I think you should do that, because if you do, you're doing more than just supporting the club. You're really leveraging the good work that Rotary does all around the world, you know, and for my money, you know, that'll make you an absolutely outstanding Rotarian. You know, there's probably as many reasons why people join Rotary as there are Rotarians, maybe even more. You know, I think all of us think that everybody joins Rotary for the same reason that we did, but that we know that that's not true. There's just a variety of reasons, but all of us either return to Rotary or stay in Rotary because what it adds to our lives. See, through Rotary, we actually are making a difference in the world. And the more involved we become, whether it's in person or electronically, the more that Rotary actually adds to our lives. It enriches us. You know, and Rotary does something that not many organizations do. And that's Rotary challenges us to actually be better people, to become ambitious in the ways that matter, to set higher goals, and to incorporate service above self into our daily lives, not just something that we might chant at a meeting a couple of times a month. And this year, you know, Rotary, we have 3 strategic goals for our organization worldwide, and that is to build and strengthen clubs. Well, today we're doing that. We're adding our 89th club in our district, which is the 13th largest in the world, by the way, to focus our humanitarian efforts globally, right, and to enhance Rotary's global image and public awareness. See, the simple fact is most people don't know what Rotary does, and we really need to work hard to fix that. You know, and going back to strengthening clubs, one of the biggest challenges that we have is really 2 of them. We've got our average age is a challenge, and our gender balance, right? And the simple fact is, if we want to be an effective service club in our community, whether that's a physical community or a virtual community, we have to reflect the demographics of the communities that we want to serve. So we need to do some work there. You know, I know you know that Rotary is becoming more flexible with rules about how clubs can meet. This is the most recent example of that. We just think that this is the perfect thing. You know, this isn't going to be for everybody. I do think you're going to have a challenge. I'll tell you. We know from data that people join Rotary for a variety of reasons, but the primary one is the personal interaction, right? The friendships, and that's a little bit more difficult in this environment. And so I think my advice for this club is to work to figure out, you know, how to work around that barrier. You know, you are geographically separated, but many of you live in the same geographies. You know, there's people that live in Victoria or Mid-Island, people live in, you know, the Thurston County area. There's nothing wrong with you getting together to do social stuff from time to time. My own club, just this evening, we met at a golf course and had drinks and dinner. That's where I was right before I came here. There was no program. It was just people getting together with other people. And I think you should maybe consider something like that on a really informal basis. I do want to invite everybody on the call to come to our district conference, and that's the first weekend in May this coming year. That's going to be in Tacoma at the Hotel Murano. And, you know, for the 2nd year in a row, we've combined our district conference with our district training assembly. And particularly for the incoming officers, but as well for everybody, what a great opportunity to get trained up on what's going on with Rotary. We've got some world-class speakers we're bringing in, just 2 that I'll mention to you. One is a woman from Seattle who's the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, and she has the distinction of her and her husband are the only married couple who have ascended the 7 peaks of the world. It's an amazing, and she's not a climber, I tell you. And another person is a young man from the Spokane area who's a retired Army officer, West Point graduate, and his distinction is he was blinded by a bomb when he was a young 2nd lieutenant in Afghanistan, and he's the only person to remain on active duty with a full career while being blind. So it's an amazing story. This guy has climbed Mount Rainier. He's run marathons, completed a master's degree at Duke, and he surfs right on the ocean. So these are just 2 of some amazing stories you're going to hear. I think you'll leave there motivated. One of the best things about serving as governor is I get to see the good work that our foundation does, both locally and globally. And I'm really glad that Sean Lewis is on the call. I remember sitting next to Sean Lewis at a Thurston County Foundation event, and Sean and I had a little bit to drink, and at that dinner, Sean was recognized as a major donor to our foundation. And I turned to Sean and I said, "Well, I know you work for the school district. How can you afford that?" And he turned to me and he said, "Tom, that's it's called $86 a month."
Yeah.
So, and
$86 a month.
That's right.
That's right.
And he said, you know, he goes, I do that with a deduction. He goes, I don't even see that. And I will tell you, I took that advice, and because of that, my wife and I became major donors. And I'll tell you that those are the conversations we have to have with one another to talk about the fact that we are donating to the foundation, and that it is really worthwhile.
Governor Tom, I now do $100 a month. Feel free to match.
Well, Sean, you don't want to go there.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Okay.
So,
You do not, like 40
Yeah.
shekels a month.
so my wife and I just recently were inducted into the Arch Clump Society,
Hey.
and we're the third couple in our district to do that. And I'll tell you, we're doing that on a payment plan, and you know, it's a little north of $3,500 a month over 5 years. But I just am such a believer in this foundation and in the work that it does, that I felt specifically during my governorship.
What he said.
I wanted to make sure that everybody knew how important it was to me. So, little sidebar there. You know, and speaking of the foundation, you know, we talked about giving a month. One of the ways that I do that is I do that with a program called Rotary Direct. So if those of you who don't know, Rotary's really pushing that now. That's our new program where you can set aside a certain amount a month or a quarter, any amount that you want, and it just debits from your credit card, or it can do a transfer out of your checking account. And it's what Lori and I use, and besides, we really like getting the free airline miles for that. You know, I would like to say something about, I mentioned Lori, my wife. One of the things that she's asking every club to do this year is a challenge. It's a literacy challenge. And I know you guys are just coming on board right now, but it's not too late. And what she's asking people to do is for every club to donate at least 2 books per member to a local literacy organization, school, library, hospital, something. And then in the April timeframe, she's going to be reaching out to each president, including Bill, and asking what your number is. So these aren't books we're collecting in my garage. These are books that we'd like you to give to your own community. And I will tell you, and we're going to have a competition between each area in the district. And today I actually ordered the awards for that. And we'll be awarding that at the district conference. So you guys are in area 14 within our district. And so those are the clubs, and it's per capita based. So as Lori says, it's fair to all concerned. So I think it's a beautiful idea. And I think we're going to find out that, you know, we have nearly 5,000 Rotarians in this district. That would be a target of 10,000 books. I believe the number will be many times that when we get done.
So Tom, is it local or can it be international?
It can be anything you want.
Okay.
Anything you want. So,
Tom,
yes.
I didn't hear you say an end date, so I'm assuming the start date was July 1, but.
Yeah, we haven't figured that out. The idea was going to be kind of the Rotary year, but the reality is we need to figure out the number before district conference, which is the first weekend in May. So I imagine it'll probably be, you know, like April 15th, something like that. So you have enough time to do something. But, you know, my friends in the Lacey Club, I know went after, they have several thousand books already, I know. And I know that some of the clubs on the island are going after this, you know, with both feet. So it's all good.
Oh.
All right. So now I'd like to say a few words about our theme for the year. Most of you are prior Rotarians, and you know that. Could you guys mute your mics if possible? Because what's
I think
happening.
what happened, Tom, is a message popped up that said that the meeting organizer wanted us to unmute ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I took care of that.
Okay. So what? So I work with this video business. Just so you know, if you unmute, then what happens? The switch is listening for anybody's noise, and so it will shift the video in that regard. So if you mute, it won't happen. So I'd like to say a few things about our theme for this year. You guys remember that Rotary typically has an annual theme, and this year it's making a difference. And earlier this year, I heard one of our past Rotary presidents say that Rotary wanted to get an objective view on how the world views Rotary. And so they actually hired somebody to make that assessment. They did a global survey. They surveyed the world's largest humanitarian and service organizations, and they came back and they said, Rotary is absolutely unique in the world. And we'll give you 4 reasons why. First, they said, you've got this classification system. And that means people in your Rotary Club, like this one, represent many different industries. And that when you come together to solve a project like how to get a school bus, you know, fixed and sent to Mexico, or, you know, how to dig a well somewhere, you come to you bring diversity to that problem solving. You actually think differently, and that makes you stronger. Second, they said when your members come to a Rotary Club meeting, virtually or physically, they come from all these different professions. You know, you have people who are educators, people who are physicians, people who are architects, people who are engineers, and people who are project managers. And they bring those skill sets with them. And they said that they surveyed Rotary projects globally and found very few that had failed. And they think that's the reason why. Third, they said you have passion and perseverance. They go, you know, you go to a Rotary Club meeting, even like this one online, and you just feel the passion in the people's voices when you meet. And as for perseverance, any organization that for now over 31 years has been dedicated to the task of ridding the world of polio and is going to be at it to the end, no matter what, well, that's perseverance. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be visiting the Gates Foundation tomorrow for a special tour and talk with some of their executives there. And fourth, the fourth reason they said you got a network of 35,000 clubs in nearly every country in the world, and you actually work together. Something you don't read about in the paper every day. They say you got clubs like the E Club of District 5020 that has resources, and you can partner with a club in another country that may not have resources, but they have needs, and you actually get things done. And they said as a result, what Rotary does is you conduct community service on a global basis, right? Community service on a global basis. And they said you put those 4 things together and nobody else in the world is doing that. Rotary is absolutely unique. You know, as I thought about it, I thought, okay, so we're unique. That's a good thing. But what makes Rotary special? And I think it's the values that we have as Rotarians. And this is something that we don't talk about very often. The Prime Minister of Sri Lanka recently said, and I'm quoting him here, he says, we're grateful to have Rotary in our country, as a community with Rotary is better off in every way than one without it. Well, why is that? See, I think it's because we as Rotarians serve to make our communities better places. And it doesn't really matter how you define your community. You know, it could be Vancouver Island or British Columbia or Western Washington or the state of Washington or North America, you know, or our world. Regardless, Rotarians we serve our communities. You know, I think that our greatest value is our commitment to service, but out of that commitment to service comes maybe a more important value, and that's friendship. You see, because we want to be with people that think and act as we do, and this naturally leads to friendships. And those friendships, see, strengthen our service, because together we can do so much more than we could ever do on our own. I mean, think of any other Rotary Club that you've been in. No one person could have done that. You know, and if you're serious about wanting to make your community a better place, you better deal with the people in your community honestly. And honesty is another important value of Rotary. And then there's trustworthiness. This one strikes me very, very closely. People trust us. They trust us with their children. They send them to us on youth exchange, and they trust us to safeguard these young children as we would our own kids. And people trust us with their money. Bill and Melinda Gates have given Rotary a great deal of money, as most of you know, matching the polio money, $2 for every dollar. But we don't often talk about why they do that. I mean, remember, the Gates are not Rotarians. Believe me, they could give their money to anybody else in the world. Well, they do that because they know that we're going to spend that money, their money, wisely, and that we will report openly, honestly, and accurately. You see, people trust us, and that trust is important to the work that we do in Rotary. So if you're going to be involved in all this activity, you might ask yourself, well, what's in it for me? What's the payback? Well, there is no payback. You see, because we do what we do because we want to, and not because of any reward that might come back to us. My term for that is unselfish service. You see, in the end, it is our values, it's our principles that make us the people that we are, and we make Rotary special by the things that we do. And there's one more key value of Rotary that I think is really important. And I'm quoting St. Teresa here. She says, the biggest disease today is not leprosy or tuberculosis, but rather the feeling of being unwanted, uncared for, and deserted by everybody. She said, the greatest evil is the lack of love and charity, the terrible indifference to our neighbor. And at the hour of our death, when we come to face God, we're going to be judged, not on how much we've done, but how much work we've put into our actions. Well, I think you'd agree with me that Rotarians, we're not prepared to be indifferent. You see, we don't accept that people should feel unwanted, unloved, or that their lives are worthless. We care, and that's the other important value of Rotary. And as we care, we're actually showing the love that St. Teresa talked about. You see, and this is really important, we want everybody to know, as many people as possible to know, that those that wear these Rotary pins, right, and I bet you have them on right now, are people that they can trust, are people who care about them, and who are people who want to help them improve their lives. That's who we are. So those are the Rotary values: service, friendship, and honesty, trustworthiness, unselfishness, and care. And you see, when we apply these principles to the work that we do, and when we really reach out in service, we touch the lives of people. They know then that we care. And you see, this is what makes Rotary so special. Because you and I know that together we actually can make a difference in this world. We change that world by using these qualities, one person, one community at a time. We come together and we do what we know is right. And as we do that, we actually show the world that we are Rotary, making a difference. Okay, so that's the governor's speech. And now that you've recorded it, expect to see that on YouTube and get like a gazillion hits, okay? And so next up, I get to present your charter. So this is a pretty cool thing. And so let me see that if I can do this. I'm gonna, so I got a note that says the host disabled attendee screen sharing, President McCarthy. So you gotta give me a permission there.
Multiple participants can share simultaneously. Try that.
Okay. Here we go.
Ta-da.
Ta-da. That work?
Yeah, it worked. Look
All
at
right.
that.
So kind of neat. I get to do this as an officer of Rotary International. This certifies that the Rotary E-Club of District 5020 International, Washington, USA has been duly organized and having agreed through its officers and members to be bound by the Constitution and bylaws of Rotary International, which agreement is evidenced by the acceptance of this certificate, is now duly admitted member of Rotary International and is entitled to all the rights and privileges of such membership. In witness thereof, the seal of Rotary International is hereto affixed. Signature of its officers being duly authorized are subscribed hereto this. Admission to membership in Rotary International recommended by Thomas E. Carroll, District Governor, and Ian Risley, President, Rotary International. So congratulations, one and all. Congratulations, President Bill. Congratulations, returning Rotary members, current Rotary members, and new Rotary members. This is an amazing accomplishment, and I just wish you the absolute very best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Governor Tom. Yep. Okay. I'll unmute some people. So if anyone has anything they would like to say to Governor Tom, only positive things now, right? Let's see. Is everybody, those of you who were muted yourself, does anyone have anything they would like to say to Governor Tom or ask him before we move down the agenda?
Maybe just one question for DG, Tom. It's a question that I think a lot of Rotarians in our district really would like to know. Tom, do you still own a ladder?
That's not nice. That's not nice.
Yeah. Yeah, well, just to set the record straight, I didn't fall off a ladder. I was in a roofing harness, and the ring on the harness broke, and I fell backwards through the air and hit my back on a railing. And I am a lucky man to be here. I will tell you,
bet,
a lucky man.
Yep. Wouldn't you know that question came from someone on the other side of the water?
Yeah.
Sounded like Roger.
Tom, we're lucky to have you.
Yes, we are.
Oh,
real quickly, I heard a familiar voice down the corner down there. Past Governor Martin, is that you?
Yes, it is.
You weren't on at the time, but and I'll repeat it quickly, but this Rotary Club that's here today, that Tom has just basically chartered and installed us, was a dream you had back when you were district governor. And you had tried to get it organized, and it just didn't happen. And ever since then, I thought, I really would like to get this going because Bob had wanted to do it and didn't happen. And so I wanted to acknowledge you, past District Governor Bob Martin, as the inspiration for the Rotary Club that is now formed as of today.
Well, I am thrilled that the Rotary Club is now in existence, but in all honesty, it was a Puyallup Rotarian, and like yourself, Bill, I'm having a senior moment. I can't remember his name, but he wanted to get an E-Club going and made significant efforts, but just never was successful. And I have electronic skills just about your level, Bill, so I was not very helpful, but I am thrilled to see it in existence. It'll be a benefit to our district and to the members.
I agree, Bob. And I think, we're talking, 8, 9 years later, I believe that it's probably become easier. And I think Rotary is more receptive because they recognize that these types of clubs are necessary if Rotary is going to continue and grow and be viable. So
for the military, it's the only practical way of having military individuals in Rotary.
Yep, that is absolutely true. Before I go into real quickly some future plans, because I want to end this before too long because everyone's been here for a while, I wanted to tell you just some things that are coming up so you can be aware. And I'll be posting this on the website. I'm going to ask for Troy's help on making sure it gets there via Facebook. But the next meeting, which will be on the 18th, will be our member Pamela Deacon Joyner on a project in Shillong, India. On the 21st of February, we will have Howard Svigals present to us. Howard was appointed by District Governor Tom to be the Rotary Foundation Fund Development Chair for Washington State within the district, right, Governor?
Correct.
Okay. We have been asked, this is really neat, the Attorney General of the state of Washington found out about us through Sean, I believe. Where are you, Sean? Where'd you go? Anyway, there he is, right in the middle of my screen. So they sent us an email, and we're in communication, and we're just trying to find a time when the Attorney General of the state of Washington will be able to address us. He has a goal, which I think is great. Within his term, he wants to be able to address every Rotary Club in the state of Washington. And so we'll be one of those. Tracy Durfelt, who is a past fund development chair for the district, is going to be a future program and talk to us about the importance of donations to the foundation and how to do it, and to encourage us, those of us who are within the area, to attend the foundation dinner coming up in March, and there'll be details on that. And then Troy Alexander, we haven't set a date yet, but Troy is going to try to educate people like myself. And well, not only that, he's going to explain to us what a media presence is all about. I mean, Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all the websites. And so Troy's going to give us a lesson on that. What we can do, how we do it, the value of it. I already think the value of it is we'll just expand this club, you know, and the reach of this club. And those are the tentative things. We're going to be doing some idea sharing, probably do a bit of it by email. And one of the things I'm going to send an email out is ask everyone if the first and third Thursday of the month at 7 p.m. works for you. We set this up with the board to get it started, but now that we're running and we have members, we just want to make sure that that's realistic for the membership. So we'll be sending out anybody here ever heard of Doodle? A Doodle program called Doodle? All right, I see some heads nodding. And Troy, I am a little bit literate in some of this. And so I thought I'd send a Doodle out with some options for people on days and times. That might be the easiest way for people to respond. And then the last thing I have is, I think it was Fred Wright who brought this idea up at a board meeting. It would be great to, over this first year of our existence, is to have the members, besides the programs like Pamela and Troy and Sean will present, is have like we used to call it a members 2 and members 5, but what we'll be doing is asking, we'll fill in some dates and times, and we'll ask people to tell us when it's convenient for them. And we'd like to have 3 of the members present between 10 and 15 minutes about their careers, who they are, what they do, what skills they bring to the club, what goals they would like to see for this club, and where they would like to see this club go in terms of community service and international service. And so we'll be scheduling that. So by the end of the Rotary year, hopefully we will have heard from every single member of the club in detail about that. And that's kind of where we hope to grow from here. This is a fantastic start. I am excited about it. And I guess what I'm going to do before we close, this may be a mistake, but I'd like to ask a couple of the past district governors who are online if they have any comments. And I'll start with Jim Harris. Jim, are you still with us?
Still here.
Do you have any comments or words of advice for our club as before we end the meeting?
No, I'm impressed. It looks like you're off to a great start, and I'm reminded of a ancient Chinese proverb that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. You've made your first step, and good luck on everything.
That's awesome. You broke up a little bit, Jim, but we heard most of it. And thank you very much. Past District Governor Paul Davis, do you have any words for us?
I don't have any words of wisdom. I think you guys are doing great. I have really enjoyed this program.
Awesome. Really glad you joined us, Paul. I'm glad I talked to you and Donna about this. Let's see. Oh, boy. District Governor nominee designate. Greg, do you have any words of wisdom for us?
Yeah, I like the start you've gotten here. I think your excitement is contagious, and I'm not sure which of us are speaking here. There's quite a few imposters in the room right now. But
oh boy!
I think that you're off to a really good start, and I commend you on your efforts.
Oh, okay. Okay, I can see what's going to happen in your year as governor. Okay. Okay, does anyone have anything they'd like to add? Oh boy. I got to figure out how to turn your screen off, Greg. Does anyone have anything they'd like to say for the good of the order before we close for this evening?
I see Tom waving his hand.
Yes, Tom.
Bill, yeah, one thing I wanted to add, you mentioned Howard is going to be speaking in I guess, in the next few meetings.
Yes.
One of the things that I'll steal a little bit of his thunder that I've offered this year is anybody that signs up for Rotary Direct this year, I'm personally matching them with another 100 Paul Harris points from my own account. So I will tell you that on each side of the border, we've got like, there's probably about 40 or 50 or so on each side of the border that have already done that this year.
Awesome.
So kind of a neat thing. So take advantage of that if you can.